Bonjour tout le monde! Vous me manquez beaucoup. So hi guys, I miss y'all. I wish we were in class instead of trying to do all this online. So this is chapter 6, grammar 1. I've split this into two parts. Normally we would just do it as one, and because we'd be in class, it would naturally be split up over a week or two. But since we're doing everything online, I split it up for you so you won't be completely overwhelmed, because what we're doing here can get a little confusing, so I want to make sure to take it kind of slow. And I'm recording this because I feel like just reading this doesn't quite do it justice. It might be a little bit harder to try to figure it out if you're just reading it without me kind of going through it and explaining it. So I'm going to go through the slideshow with you. All right, so in this grammar section, we're going to be talking about or using the imparfait. So I'll explain what the imparfait is on the next slide. So the imparfait, or the imperfect, it's a tense that tells us how things were, or how things used to be, or what used to happen repeatedly in the past. So like describing yourself when you were young. I used to be shy, or we used to go to the beach all the time. Things like that. So things that happened more than once in the past, or describing you or anyone else in the past. So to form the imparfait, bear with me, we take the present tense new form of the verb, we take off the ONS, and then we use that stem and we add on these new endings. So these are our endings. So for je, it's AIS. For tu, AIS. For il a un, it's AIT. For nous, it's IONS. For vous, I'm betting you could guess, it's IEZ. And then my personal favorite for il, el, plural, it's AIENT. Super long, so sometimes we get words that are incredibly long, lots of letters to remember. And as usual, the first three and the last one all get pronounced the same way. E, and E. Okay? Nous is ion, vous is ie. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I mean by taking the present tense new form and taking off ONS. So if we want to conjugate parler into the imparfait, first we have to take our present tense new form of this verb. So if we conjugate this new form, present tense, we get nous parlons. All right. Then we want to take off the ONS. That's going to leave us with the stem of parle, or P-A-R-L. Now we take the stem and we're going to add those imparfait endings to create the imparfait. So we would get je parlais, tu parlais, ils allons parler, nous parlions, vous parliez, il, elle parlait. Okay. So you might be thinking, well, didn't we just basically take off the ER ending and add the new ones? Yes, however, it doesn't always work that way, especially when we get to IR verbs. It's not just going to be, taking off the well, we're going to be taking off the ONS, but it's not like we're just taking off the IR. I'll show you what I mean. So for example, with finir, if I put finir into the present tense, new form, I don't get finions, I get finissons. So when I take off ONS, that leaves me with finis, F-I-N-I-S-S. So if I were to just take off IR, and add my new endings, I would get finions, which is wrong. I need finitions. Alright, so when I go through and add my endings, I'll get je finissais, tu finissais, il, on finissait, nous finissions, vous finissiez, il, elle finissait. Alright, so we have to have the extra ISS. And remember, pretty much all IR verbs in our new form, our ending is ison, ISSONS. So if we're only taking off ONS, we still need that extra ISS. So you can see with il, elle finissait, that word's pretty long. So, okay, and then the last type of verb we know is RE verbs. These are going to kind of look like the ER ones, where it kind of just looks like you only took off the RE and added the imparfait endings. It's fine to think of that way, except for with those IR verbs. So if you're someone who knows like you'll easily get tripped up, just constantly think of it as, okay, I have to use the new form, present tense, take off ONS. That's going to be my stem. So for vendre, for example, I put that in present tense new form, so I get nous vendons, take off ONS, leaves me with vend, V-E-N-D, and then I just add the endings. So, je vendais, tu vendais, il, elle, on vendait, nous vendions, vous vendiez, il, elle vendait. Okay, a couple spelling notes. So verbs like manger and commencer that have spelling changes in the new form keep the same spelling change in the imperfect, except for in the nous and vous forms. So basically in the imperfect, these are a shoe verb. You're going to keep the spelling change in all of the forms except for nous and vous, because those are outside the shoe. So for example, manger, if we put it in the present tense new form, we get mangeons. We have to have the E because we don't want mangeons, we want mangeons. Same thing with commencer. We would say nous commençons because we don't want nous commençons. We want that say sound. However, when we take off the endings, we're making imparfait. If we're conjugating for the nous and vous form, we don't need to keep the E or the accent. So for example, je mangeais, but nous mangions. I keep the E in the je form because it's inside the shoe, and I need the E to make the manger sound. Otherwise, it would be manger, which is wrong. We want manger. But in the new form, I don't need the E because the I already makes that E sound. Mangions. I don't need an E there. Same thing with commencer. I'm going to have je commençais, C with an accent, because otherwise it would be commencer, which is wrong. Right? But in the new form, it's outside of the shoe. I don't need the accent because the I helps me make the C sound anyway. Nous commencions. So I don't need an accent there. Okay? So just think of these as shoe verbs. If you're conjugating a GER or a CER verb in imparfait, it doesn't need the accent, it doesn't need the E. Otherwise it does. Être is the only verb that's special. It's the only one that has an irregular stem, accent T or E with an accent T, because if you think about it, what's our new form of être? It's some, right? There's no ONS to get rid of there, so we need a special stem. So when we're using this, we get things like this. Quand j'étais jeune, j'étais très timide. So when I was young, I used to be very shy. All right, so now we're going to do a little bit of practice. I want you to try these on your own. Just pause the video. I'll have a slide that reminds you to stop on the next slide. So all you're doing is filling in the blank or choosing which form of the verb would you use to fill in the blank. So you need to look to see, is the original sentence, are they talking about present tense or are they talking about the past? Which form of the verb would I need to use? So I want you to try these on your own, pause the video, and then I'll come back and go over them with you. Okay, hopefully these weren't too difficult. So we're going to go over these together. So on the first one we have Julie, tu blank, jouer à chat perché avec moi cet après-midi. Alright, so here we have to figure out, are they talking about present tense or are they talking about the past? Because I have one option that's present tense, two options that are present tense, and one that's imparfait, past tense. So it says Julie blank, so some form of want. You want to play tag with me. Here we have to look at cet après-midi, this afternoon. Well, if it's this afternoon, we know it's present tense. Okay? So if it's present tense, now we just need to look at, well, what are we conjugating for? We're conjugating for tu. So we know it absolutely cannot be C, voulons, right? So that just leaves us with ve and voulait. Well, which one's present tense? Right, ve is present tense, so that's the one we're going to use. All right, the next one. Quand nous allions à la mer, nous blank des châteaux de sable. All right, so we have to determine, were they talking about present tense or past tense? Well, here in the first half where it says nous allions, well, it's not nous allons, that would be present tense. It's allions, right? Which is imparfait. So we know this is talking about past tense. So if it's when we used to go to the sea, we blank sandcastles. Well, we wouldn't say we make, if we're talking about things we used to do, we would say we used to make. So that means we definitely need imparfait ending, right? All right, so if we need imparfait, well, who are we conjugating for? Well, we're conjugating for nous, so we know it can't be si because that's the wrong ending, right? So now we're just left with either faisons or faisions. Well, if I want imparfait, I need the one with the imparfait ending. So that means I need B, faisions. Right? Toi, maman et papa, est-ce que vous blank dansaient quand vous étiez jeune? All right, so mom and dad, did y'all, here we know it's going to be some form of like, to dance when you were young? All right, so étiez, that's imparfait, we know that's past tense. So if I'm asking mom and dad, did y'all, we're probably going to say, did y'all used to like to dance when you were young? So if it's used to like, we know we have to use an imparfait form. Now we're just going to look to see, well, what am I conjugating for? Well, I'm conjugating for vous, so I definitely can't use a, right? Because that's the wrong ending. So now I'm going to look at the other two. I have aimier and aimer. All right, so which one's got my imparfait ending? B, right? Aimier. And then the last one, Paul et ses copains blank aux arbres comme toujours. So here it doesn't really give us an indication in the sentence whether they're talking about present tense or past tense. So now we're going to look at, well, who are we conjugating for? And we can narrow it down that way. So here we're going to conjugate for Paul et ses copains. So that's more than one person, right? Paul and his friends. So it doesn't say anything about you in there. So it can't be A because we're not talking about vous. So it has to either be B or C, grimper or grimper. Right. Well, if it's more than one person, we know it can't be B. It has to be C, grimper. Okay. Again, I want y'all to try this one on your own. Here, you're filling in the blank. You have to figure out which verb do I use, and then I have to put it into the imparfait. All right, so read the questions or read the sentences, figure out what verb should go in there. A lot of these have to do with the vocabulary. Once you figure out which verb needs to go there, then you want to put the verb into the imparfait. So again, I'm going to give you this little pause slide, pause the video, try it out on your own, and then I'll come back and go over it with you. Okay, hopefully that wasn't too hard. So on the first one, we have Mamie, est-ce que quand tu blank petite, il y blank des jeux vidéo? All right, so grandma, when you blank little, so if it's you blank little, it's probably going to be when you were little, right? Which is like saying to be, right? So how do we say to be in French? Well, we say être, all right? So now I just need to put être into the imparfait. Well, être was one of those where the stem is always the same. We can't take the new form and take off the ONS because there is no ONS. So our stem's going to be E with an accent T. Okay, now I just need to figure out what imparfait ending do I use for tu? Well, I'm going to use AIS. So that gives me été. All right, in the second part, it says il y blank des jeux vidéo. Well, what do we normally see if we see il y blank together? Well, normally it's il y a. A is really the verb avoir, just conjugated, present tense, right? So here we want to use avoir, but we want to put it into the imparfait. So our first step is to figure out, well, what's the new form of avoir? It's avant, right? So now I need my stem. So to get my stem, I'm going to take off that ONS. And now I just need to figure out what's going to be my ending. Well, I look to see what am I really conjugating for? Conjugating for il, right? So that means I need the il ending for imparfait, which is ait. So I'll get avait. So my full sentence should look like this. Mamie, est-ce que quand tu étais petite, il y avait des jeux vidéo? Okay, so était and avait. All right, the next one. Bien sûr que non. Nous, les filles, nous, blank à la poupée. On blank à la corde aussi. Okay, so for number 3, we're going to look at what comes after the blank. À la poupée. Well, we had a vocabulary phrase that was jouer à la poupée, to play dolls. So that means I'm probably going to use jouer here. So now I just need to conjugate into the imparfait. So first I have to take my new form, present tense, so I get nous jouons, right? To get the stem, I'm going to take jouons, take off the ONS, which gives me joue. Now I just need to look to see, well, who am I conjugating for? I'm conjugating for nous. So what's my nous ending for imparfait? It's IONS. So that's going to be jouions. Right? Then for number 4, it says en blanc à la corde. Well, we had a vocab phrase that was sauter à la corde, to jump rope. All right, so I'm going to take sauter. I want to put in the imparfait, so first I have to take the nous form. So my nous form is sautons. Then I need to get the stem, so I'm going to put sautons. I'm going to take off the ONS, which gives me saute. All right, now I can add the imparfait ending. So here I'm looking at, well, I'm conjugating for on gets conjugated just like il or l, so that means my ending is going to be AIT. So I'm going to get sauter. So my full answer should be, bien sûr que non, nous, les filles, nous jouions à la poupée, on sautait à la corde aussi. Okay. All right, on to the next one. Et les garçons, qu'est-ce qu'ils blank font en général? So, and the boys, what did they blank to do in general? Well, here it's probably going to be like, what did they like to do in general? So how do we say to like in French? Aimer. All right, now I just need to put it into the imparfait. So to do that, I have to take the nous form. So I'm going to get nous aimons, right? To get my stem, I'm going to take aimons. I'm going to take off the ONS. So that leaves me with M. And now I just need to see. So now I just had to figure out, well, what ending do I need? If I'm conjugating for eels, that means I need the AIENT ending. So that gives me aimer. All right, so then I should have et les garçons, qu'est-ce qu'ils aimaient faire en général? So aimer, AIENT. All right, and the last one had a bunch of them, so we're going to take it one step at a time. So for the first part, eh bien, ils blanquent aux petites voitures ou aux billes. So what verb would we use with aux petites voitures? If we're talking about vocab phrases, we're going to use jouer. All right, so same as before, I'm going to take the nous form, present tense jouons, to get the stem. I'm going to take jouons, drop the ONS. That gives me joue. All right, who am I conjugating for? Ils, or il. So that means I'm going to use AIENT. So attach them together, I get jouer. Okay, on the next one, we have il blank des trains électriques aussi. Well, what verb went with des trains électriques? To play, right? Jouer. So same as before, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. We know we're going to end up with, if it's the il form, go through the exact same steps. So jouer. All right, and the last one. Et puis, il blank toujours des farces aux filles. Okay, so now we have to look at des farces. Well, what verb always went with des farces from our vocab? Faire, right? So our verb's going to be faire. Remember, faire is irregular. So when we conjugate faire into the nous form, that means we're going to end up with nous faisons, right? So to get the stem, we have to drop the ONS. So that means we're going to be left with F-A-I-S. All right. Now I just look at, well, who am I conjugating for? Still conjugating for il, or il with an S. So my ending's still going to be AIENT. So I'll get faisait. So my complete answer should be, eh bien, il jouait aux petites voitures ou aux billes. Il jouait des trains électriques aussi. Et puis, il faisait toujours des farces aux filles. So they always played jokes on the girls. Hopefully that wasn't too difficult. I'm going to give you one more round of practice. This is one of those that you're going to write out on your own and then you'll email in to me. So, la vie de ma famille il y a 10 ans. Qu'est-ce que tu aimais faire quand tu étais petite? Écris un paragraphe pour décrire la vie de ta famille il y a 10 ans. So, what did you like to do when you were little? Write a paragraph to describe your family 10 years ago. So basically, think about how old you are now, how old were you 10 years ago? You're going to write a paragraph to describe you and your family, what y'all were like, what you used to do, where you lived, what y'all did 10 years ago. So in the example, this is not original. I didn't actually write this. I just took this from the book. So in the model, quand j'avais 6 ans, ma famille habitait à San Diego. Après l'école, mes frères et moi, nous aimions. So here I'm going to start off how old I was and where my family was living. And then you're just going to talk about what y'all like to do, what you used to do a lot, anything about what y'all kind of did. You're going to use imparfait for pretty much all of this. I really only need maybe 5 sentences. Make sure you use imparfait. Check your spelling. Make sure you're using the new form present tense to get those imparfait words. All right. Hopefully this wasn't too hard. Hopefully me recording this is helpful. All right. I will see y'all later for the next round. Au revoir.